Okay, let's go.
So again, good afternoon to you all. Today we have a great pleasure to have Dr. Ahmed Omar from the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities in Alexandria to talk about the history of maritime archaeology in Egypt. But before we start, I would like to give some space to the Chief of Archaeo-Oriental Studies, Professor Kamil Płaszkiewicz. Since we have finished the first phase of the project, he has a couple of words to say. So, Kamil, the floor is yours.
Well, I think it's not me who is most wanted today. I don't want to talk too much, but above all, it's a great pleasure and a unique opportunity to have Dr. Ahmed among us. Because, well, as I see, there are some archaeologists today uh, for whom what Dr. Ahmed does and what he will talk about is maybe not obvious, but at least understandable. But on the other hand, for Orientalists, as I suppose, uh, doing anything archaeology underwater may be a bit surprising. But nevertheless, as we will certainly see, there is a lot to do, and fascinating things can be found when conducting excavation underwater. So this would be our today's topic. This is what Dr. Ahmed is busy with, and what he kindly agreed to share with us.
Okay, so let's begin then. Dr. Ahmed, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Camille and Dr. Susanna, for this introduction and this information, and giving me this opportunity to meet our colleagues in Poland, and maybe this is the first time for me to talk overseas, if we can say. But anyhow, our presentation today is about maritime archaeology in Egypt. Uh, since we have started our department, I mean the Department of Underwater Antiquity, it was in '96. Uh, and I had the pleasure to be one of this department and a member of this team. Since then, till I've moved become the director of the training center. It was in 70, sorry. But I'm still with a good contact with them, and I had following all their activities. I'm not going to talk today about the content of all the activities, but from a concept of the concept and terminology. As since we have started the department, there was a very big debate about titling the department, if it is a maritime or a marine or underwater or submerged, and there was a lot of concepts and points of view. So we are going very fast through these points, these concepts. And let's say about the title or the name. Is it a maritime or a marine or underwater? If we talk about maritime, it means all the objects and materials that related to the sea, while marine explains, let's say, this is how we say it in Arabic, while marines explains the products or the organs that lives or produced by the sea, that is to say, all the biologically or environmentally related to the sea. While the title from the underwater means the submerged or describes all the targets, all the whatever is covered or submerged with water, if it has something to deal with the maritime activities or not. It could be a city, it could be a building, it could be a temple, it could be whatever. So it is not only the maritime or the marine subjects or marine targets. That's to say, the maritime wording deals with all the sea, ships or boats, also with the harboring activities, besides all the commercial routes and commercial activities that related to the sea. While the marine usually dealt with the marine life, the objects, the organic or the planets or whatever is lived in the sea and belongs to the sea. The underwater title usually dealt with the submerged sites, buildings, even it is offshore or onshore, because sometimes we find an onshore sites maybe has a maritime behavior or related to the maritime activities. Then we came to the idea that our department, or the department for, as it is so-called, underwater antiquities, dealt with a variety of subjects or variety of science. Most of them are related to the maritime, could be titled as a maritime archaeology or underwater, both, because we are dealing with a submerged settlement sites and also the fish traps, which is dealt in somehow with the marine title. Also, we are dealing with ports and harbors, and even the shipwrecks with, or if ever it is an aircraft submerged or sunken underwater. So this is will be about the title. So we are dealing with all the activities that belong to the maritime activities, and also including the submerged sites. We are going through all these tasks today. We'll talk about the beginning of the so-called underwater archaeology in Egypt, the founding of the establishment of the Department of Underwater Antiquities, the techniques and the methodology of excavation, and we'll give small hints to the sites which have been discovered since then. So the beginning of underwater activities, or what's so-called archaeological underwater archaeology, though all the field of archaeology in generally wasn't started since about 2 centuries, but the underwater antiquities or the underwater archaeology in Egypt maybe relatively little bit younger, or started earlier, later. However, the science of underwater archaeology regards some simple experiments at the beginning of the last century can be said to have organized or originated around the middle of the last century. The first who started in this field, let's say it could be Gaston Jondier. He was the chief engineer of the Alexandria harbor by this time. And while dredging the entrance passage of the port in between 1911 and 1913, he found submerged platforms extended for about 500 meters wide and about 2 kilometers long, built of quite big blocks. He say, according to what he says in his book and his publications, it is resembles in size the blocks which used to build the pyramids, and this is why he dated this site to the same period, but it is not such an convincing evidence or not such quite big evidence to the dating. He could also found about submerged platform or a quay extended for about from 8 to 12 meter wide and about 40 to 60 meter long. These platforms divided the harbor to two similar basins, but its function is not quite clear. But since then, unfortunately, nobody could check what Gaston Jondier recorded and found because of the strategic importance and because of the the commercial activities which going on the harbor till today. So we could hardly check all these things. Only many years ago, a Russian mission has tried to check some of these points, but due to the environmental circumstances and also for the political reasons, they couldn't continue their work, especially in the very active passage of the Alexandrian harbor. So later on, nearly in the middle of the last century, especially in 1933, Prince Omar Tosun started a new work in this field in Abu Qir Bay, especially when one of the aircraft pilots noticed some ancient vestiges within the water during his surveys and flying over Abu Qir Bay. And he informed his friend, the Prince Omar Tosun, about these notifications. And Omar Tosun recruited some surveys in the Abu Qir Bay, and he sent some divers, and fortunately they could bring this marble statue of Alexander, which is exhibited now in the Greco-Roman Museum. Tosun also, during his surveys, could locate the site of the city of Menotis, also with its temple. He could also locate a city of Heraklion according to his researches and his historical sources, and with also with the location and the extension of the Canopic branch lying to the Mediterranean. Let's say in the beginning of the last century, let's say, or maybe in the middle of the last century, when Jacques-Yves Cousteau, together with his friend Emile Garnier, invested the self-contained underwater breathing aperture, which is known as abbreviately as scuba diver or scuba diving gears in 1943. This was a revolt in the field of the diving and underwater activities. And by the help of these equipments, we could go on further works, and we could pay more attention and concentrate in working underwater and to go on further in this field. Going on the same way, I mean, in the last century, in the 60s of the last century, we found an Egyptian amateur diver who named Kamel Abu Saadat. Abu Saadat also paid a lot of attention to the field of underwater antiquities. He helped in with the support of the Egyptian Navy to bring some of the sunken objects underwater. This granite nearly life-size male statue was lifted from Silsila. It is located nearly not further from the royal quarter in the center of Alexandria. Maybe we'll find the maps later on. Abu Saadat also could locate many of the sunken sites and sunken objects underwater draftly in sketches by his handwriting, and delivered all these plans to the antiquities department by this time. Here is Silsila Bay. This is the eastern harbor. Those who visit Alexandria or who know Egypt will find the eastern harbor in the center of the Alexandria city. And this is the Silsila. It is not so far from the present site of Bibliotheca Alexandrina. Here is the site of Bibliotheca Alexandrina. Abu Saadat also could locate another draft for Abu Qir Bay, locating the submerged fleets of Napoleon and the remaining of this conquest between the British and the French invasion in Egypt. And most of the modern activities used all his sketches greatly, and could locate many of these sites exactly according to what Abu Saadat planned. Abu Saadat also, according to his sketches and plans, dove in the site of Pharos, nearby Qaitbay site, and it was in the nearly after a few months later of the finding the statue, the granite statue of the female. They left this two-part female statue of granite with its base, but and by the beginning they were thinking that the statue belonged to the goddess Isis Faria, who was erected in the site of Pharos, but due to the because they were not specialists and they were not knowing well about the sculptures and all the activities related to the architectural basis, the statue, the base of the statue which they left, they discovered that it is not belonging to the same statue, and they couldn't erect the statue as it was planned. This is during one of his investigation with Honor Frost, whom sent by the UNESCO to investigate the site of Pharos. And according to this mission, the decision was taken to bring the statue, but it was lying for a long time till it could be collected together. And due to these activities, because of the commercial and strategic purposes, the activities of underwater was nearly neglected for about long time, till in the beginning of exactly in 1929, when a project was started to protect the site of Qaitbay, the citadel of Qaitbay. By this time, some of the scholars and some of the intelligence paid attention that since many times there was a notice of notification that there was submerged antiquities and submerged objects in the site of Qaitbay, and this protection by throwing blocks in the sea couldn't be done except even before recording or moving some of these objects away, not to be destroyed. Even Abu Saadat, also according to what Abu Saadat and Honor Frost planned, there was about many objects sunken underwater, but they could be left safe since in 1929. But a little bit earlier, let's say in the 1985, Jacques Dumas created some archaeological project in Abu Qir Bay to bring some parts of the Napoleon's fleet. But unfortunately, except for some of these objects which have been left by Jacques Dumas and already exhibited in the Maritime Museum, or let's say stored in the Maritime Museum and some other storehouses in Alexandria, not much of his activities are known, because unfortunately he died few months later after he finished his work, and he didn't publish all the activities which have been done in Abu Qir Bay by this time. And so because of, as I've said, this modern project of protecting the Qaitbay, the site of Qaitbay, and as it was known according to what Abu Saadat says, and all his plans and all his sketches, that there was a lot of objects lying underneath Qaitbay site. The Egyptian governorate have a decision, or took a decision, to create the Department of Underwater Antiquities, and with several interests of members, and we started our projects, many projects underwater, in underwater antiquities or underwater discoveries. First of all, of course, to protect the site of Pharos and many other sites. We are using various techniques for surveying, of course, through diving, either by visual survey or manual survey by divers. or even by using some modern equipments and remote sensing equipments, such magnetometer, echo sounders, single beams or multi beams echo sounders. We use also side scan sonar and seismic equipments, either by sub-bottom or by the boomer. These are various techniques could survey even the surface of the seabed, or even detect what is submerged or sunken under the seabed. And finally, of course, some of the surveys were done by so-called remote operating vessels, or ROV, but not much have been going in this field. The sonar equipment, of course, using the sound technology and giving, sending sound waves by both sides of the side scan or the side scan sonar, and according to the reflection recorded by these equipments, we could detect all the submerged objects or targets on the seabed. Due to this technology, we could locate the sites in some jetties in the Eastern Harbor, and also some jetties and some a lot of targets in Abu Qir Bay belonging to the site of the Royal Quarter and the ancient Alexandria Harbor. Here is the site of the Eastern Harbor, and some of the jetties which have been discovered using the sonar technology. Also in Abu Qir Bay, we could locate some of the walls of the Minotis Temple and many other ruins remained of the temple. Even by using the sonar or the geomagnetic surveys or magnetic equipments. After locating such sites, manual activities or manual diving works went on these sites by using the normal or the proper methods of locating site. We are creating grid lines or grid maps or grid lines underwater under the site, and everything is recorded. We'll find later. Maybe sometimes we're using metal detector to find the metal and find the jointing materials of buildings which used in the site. Sometimes we rely on excavating underwater by using dredging machine. It's exactly the water dredges, and we do excavate underwater. All these activities or works were using the normal material of on land, measuring taps, records. We are recording by using compass and by using relying on the depth meter to record the sites underwater. Also, A4 size plastic and sheets were used, recording by using pencils and measuring tapes, normal measuring tapes. Sketching sometimes were needed, and the normal or the radial surveys were sometimes locating by using baselines or datum points uh, with measuring for measuring distance and for locating objects underwater, or offset top planning or offset planning, or by using ties or triangulation. Sometimes we rely on some modern techniques for locating objects and locating the targets on the site by the inventing of the so-called acoustic meter or the acoustic positioning system. It is a kind of locating, a sort of locating objects underwater, invented by some universities and used for the short range sites with no cables and easy to use for even non-trained diver, non-trained archaeologist. Due to these techniques, many objects was located in the site of Pharos or in the site of Qaitbay. It is named by the ancient name of the name of the lighthouse of Pharos, which the citadel is located exactly on its site, the Qaitbay citadel, I mean. Many activities or several seasons were held on this site, and a lot of objects was found and located under on the bottom of Qaitbay site, and each of these objects was scientifically or academically located and using computer programmers and computer techniques, and also even in either in Qaitbay site or in the Eastern Harbor, everything was collected by using computer science and high techniques. 3D plans or 3D maps were made for many of these sites. And let's say a complete plan for the site of Qaitbay or the site of Pharos was illustrated, locating thousands of objects lying underwater. And due to this survey, the strategy of protecting the site of Qaitbay was changed, and locating the blocks to protect the site was changed from time to time, just to be away from the submerged archaeological sites, and even to give the exact or the real protection for the site of Qaitbay. According to these activities on the surveys of the mission of European Institute directed by Frank Godieu, a lot of the submerged sites in the Eastern Harbor was located with all the submerged objects, and even with some of the submerged small boats sunken underwater in the Alexandria ancient harbor. Here is one of the boats which is uncovered and recorded. In Abu Qir Bay also, it was many of the cities have been discovered by Omar Tosun, the new European mission directed by Frank Dew continued by using modern equipment in the site, and they have found several objects, and they could plan many parts of the city and the temple of Minotis and Heraklion lying underwater. Some of the objects, especially the small object which could be moved by the draft or by the waves, was left up to be protected, and we were using highly safe technique to move and to transport all the objects, even on site or even after being left. And as you know, dealing with such objects, even if it is a metal or stone or whatever the material, needs a special care. So most of these objects were left to the conservator house of the Ministry of Antiquities in the Roman Theater in Alexandria to be sunken again, to be left again in water to deal with to do the desalination of all the objects with special care and special interest of the conservator till it could be exhibited directly or without having danger of being destroyed. This one of the statues which have been left from the site of Pharos, and fortunately it is now erected. The statue of Ptolemy, according to the modern researchers, maybe belonged to Ptolemy II, and this is why he was erected here by the Bibliotheca Alexandrina. Some other statues which is left from either from Abu Qir or several sites was restored perfectly and now erected. Some of them are in the Gem Museum, the new Grand Egyptian Museum, and some of them was erected in the newly opened Greco-Roman Museum. Everything is stored very well in our storehouses at the Department of Underwater Antiquities. And our colleagues in the department are keeping on protecting and saving all the archaeological sites. Of course, this is not only the sites. As I've said, I have been a member at this department till 2019, 2017, but they are continuing, and many other sites were found, and they are keep on protecting all the sites, and they're going very well on their job. I hope I could have been giving you a very brief idea about our underwater activities and our working underwater in Alexandria. And welcome if anybody have any comments or notes or questions.
Thank you very much for that presentation. And now I open the floor for questions. So you can either raise your hand, like Professor Kołaszkiewicz did, or just ask questions. So, Kamil.
It's just because I couldn't find the button with the hand raised. So I'm sorry. First of all, thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for this lecture, which was a true revelation for me, because I did not realize many aspects of what you have told us about. And with respect to this, I have actually two questions, or maybe a little bit more, as one of them is multi-layered. So first
Please
of all,
do.
I did not realize, and this is amazing, to what degree the wet environment favors preservation of objects. I'm surprised, especially with this graph you showed. And if it's so, it's really amazing. And hence my question. I understand that small objects, like small, relatively small, like statues or vessels, or anything that can be moved, is moved to museums or to magazines. But what about what remains, what cannot be moved, especially architecture? Is there any means to, well, obviously to map them? You showed that. But is there any means to make the remains of architecture available, maybe not necessarily to broad public, because this, I imagine, might be difficult, or am I wrong? But
Of
at
course,
least,
you are not wrong. Yeah, but please go
Mhm.
on. Yeah, go on, please continue.
Uh, but is there any means to make them available for visiting as a
This is
tourist attraction, or for specialists who are interested in this or that particular place?
Of course, you're not wrong, but as you have said, as you have seen, bringing objects needs a lot of care, needs special basins to be lied in for quite long time till the process of desalination becomes to the end. If the objects or if the targets are quite big, it is not an easy task to even to bring them from underwater, to transport them, or to create a convenient place for them to be left in for quite long time to be desalinated. Also, this process, all this process, it's not it's very expensive. This is why we have a decision by since we have started our department not to bring everything, just to bring the valuable thing, the important thing, the movable thing, which could be moved or restored or could be exhibited. But the quite big targets, even it could be better for them to be left in the same environment where it is used to be in for a long time. But
Mhm.
for the ability for the visitors, this is why we started our what could be says museum, two museums in the Eastern Harbor and in the site of Faros, and I can't remember exactly. It is already available for visitors, but through the certain divers, the qualified diving centers to visit even the site of the Royal Quarter in the Eastern Harbor or the site of Kite Bay. And
Mhm.
the visitors, maybe it needs some announcement and needs some of economical, how can pronouncing. I mean, it needs more attraction to attract more people or more visitors, but what's still going on. This is why also from time to time the idea of creating or founding the underwater museum or the underwater park is coming to the light from time to time, but due to the economical and some, let's say, strategic purposes, couldn't happen up till now. But one day it will happen. Of course, maybe only the divers or those who could dive could visit the sites, but at least it is the ability for the moment.
Okay, I see. Thank you very much.
No, not
And
at all.
as I understand it, what remains underwater is safe.
Yes, yes, it is.
Maybe it will be a stupid question, but does the movement of water not impact the objects on the sea bottom?
Of course, it is impacts, but only the small objects. The big ones are quite heavy and stayed intact in their locations. So there is not a fear of being infected.
I see. Okay, this was the my first question. As I said, it was multi-layered. But the other question which comes to my mind is to what degree the underwater survey and research supplements what we already know about ancient Alexandria.
Of course, it gives a lot of hint. As I've said, we're not knowing a lot about the site of Pharos. We knew only about from the historians about the royal quarter, but according to the newly discoveries of the Eastern Harbor, the stories become true. We have found remains of Antirudis Island, the temples, some of the temples which was erected on the royal quarter, maybe not as the common people are thinking. We couldn't find the palace of Cleopatra, but we have found the remains of an important buildings lying underwater. So this for the Eastern Harbor and the site of Pharos, also for the site of Abu Qir, many of the submerged cities in the bay and the harbors of Heraklion, which was one of the main entrance to Egypt, to the commercial trades in ancient times to Egypt, as the Canopic branch was discovered with a lot of evidence for the importance of the commercial activities which is going on the site. Maybe the time is not quite giving enough to talk about many about they have found about more than 50 sunken ships surrounding the harbor of Heraklion, which means that the commercial activities and the was quite high in the ancient time at this harbor. So they could give a lot of hints of the history of Alexandria and the commercial role in the Mediterranean.
And as I understand it, it's still a work in progress, which probably will never end.
Of course, it will last forever, I would have said.
Well, thank you very much. And I cannot repeat too much how happy are we having you here. Well, let's give a chance to other participants to ask you questions, because I wouldn't take all the time.
You're welcome, Dr. Camille, not at all. And welcome for everybody else.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Okay, we have something on the chat, I guess. Or not, sorry. I'm sorry, I think that either chat just went wrong, or I didn't receive
It seems that something went wrong.
Sorry, I'll just try to do something about it.
Okay. Take your time, don't worry.
And in the meantime, again, it's not necessarily the period in which is closest to my mind and heart, but anyway, what part of ancient Alexandria is underwater? Is it a significant part, or just a tiny portion? I must confess, I don't know that.
We can say it so, because maybe according to the remaining part of the city, it is not a big part. But the information which included in such sites are quite bigger. As I've said, especially in the site of Heraklion, because it seems that the complete city with its harbor was submerged underwater, which and the city seemed to have a quite active in ancient times.
And how long was the harbor active?
According to what have been discovered in the site, it is dated from the late period till the Ptolemaic, or maybe a little bit in the Roman, but you can say in the Ptolemaic period.
And what happened next? Why it's underwater now?
Really, we don't know exactly, but as far as we know, by Alexandria and all the northern coast was facing a lot of earthquakes, and of course, we don't know that there was what we modern says tsunamis, but it could be followed by tsunamis, which is put all these sites underwater. Till the 12th century, we knew that even the lighthouse, the Pharos itself, was destroyed many times or by several stages due to these earthquakes. So maybe one of these earthquakes was put all these sites underwater.
Thank you.
Not at all, you're welcome.
Okay, I think I managed to fix the chat, and Professor Mayherek is sending greetings. Do we have any other questions?
I have one question. When did you start underwater researches in Alexandria?
In the modern days, let's say we started our surveys and our researches when the Department for Underwater Antiquities was founded by the Ministry of Antiquities. It was in 1996.
Ah, okay. So it's a long time, quite a long time. Oh, and thank you very much for very interesting uh, lecture.
Thanks a lot. You're welcome.
And what do you think? You think you will need more and more underwater archaeologists in this area, or you think you have like close team, and you are going to do researchers in this close team?
Of course not. Maybe because, as I've said, I couldn't, didn't say it maybe. The department was started with about 11 members, and fortunately now they are more than 35 members at the department. Even some of the old members was retired, left the department for moved to another places or to play another jobs, but the department are getting bigger and we still have a lot because, as I've said, the department started with an idea just to protect some small sites, and let's say now the department are involved in all the underwater activities erected or along the Mediterranean, on the Red Sea, or even in the Nile. So we still have a lot, and we still have quite big job needs to be done.
So I think it's good information.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions?
I have one more.
Yeah, please do.
What do you think? Where in Egypt is the most important to use underwater archaeologists? Only in I know that not only in Alexandria, but if Alexandria is the most important place to use underwater archaeologists, or you can you can say that there is something else.
Of course, I wouldn't have say so because maybe the department are based on Alexandria, but we are dealing with all the sites all over Egypt. We have surveyed in Sa'dana Island, south to Hurghada. We have surveyed in Ras Muhammad in Sinai. We have surveyed in Aswan in the Nile. So the department are doing jobs everywhere in Egypt, not only in Alexandria, but it is just based on Alexandria because it was, let's say, the sparkling point, the start point was in Alexandria, but we are doing all the jobs all over Egypt while surveying everywhere.
Okay, okay. So Alexandria can be the biggest, but you can't say that this is the most important, but because the
I
whole
wouldn't have say so, of course, because really in the Red Sea we have found many sites in the Red Sea, Moyos Hormuz, Sa'dana, Berniki, and many missions were done in these sites, and they are keep on going on. I mean, they continuing in some sites and new sites discovered from time to time. And especially, as you know, the Red Sea in the ancient time was quite highly in traffic and commercial routes, and there are a lot of shipwrecks over there.
Yeah, I know that pharaohs used to bury their boats before again uses on the coast of Red Sea, for example.
Yeah, and the site of Sukhna were discovered by the mission of the l'Institut Français d'Archéologie, and they have found all the remains of the boats and coopering activities, and everything was uncovered by the mission over there in السخنة, in العين السخنة.
So, okay.
So there are a lot of activities done everywhere.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not at all.
This interesting point of view, for sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, since I do not see anyone raising their hands, Camille, if you could share your screen with our website, because for those of you who are here for the first time, most of our seminars can be found on our website, so you can have an easy access to it. Camille, can you share?
Archo Orient.
Yeah, we'll just share the website, because mine for some reason doesn't want to work. Dr. Ahmed, could you please stop sharing your screen?
Okay. Here it is.
Yes, thank you very much. So again, for those of you, this is the website of our project. And here in this folder called seminar, you can find most of our seminars, and also today's seminar will be uploaded on the website. Again, Dr. Ahmed, thank you very much for being here with us. We are so happy to have you here, because usually it's the other way around, that you are having us at Alexandria. So we are happy that you could participate online, and we are hoping that one day, the sooner the better, you'll be able to come to Warsaw.
Thanks a lot. It's a quite good opportunity for me, and it gives me a lot of pleasure. Thanks a lot.
I have maybe not very to this subject question, but maybe you can recommend me when is the best time to come to Egypt, to new Grand Museum, Cairo, because I would like to visit it, but I don't know where. When is the best time to go there?
Unfortunately, the new Grand Museum is not yet open for the public, so we can't say when exactly, but when it will be opened officially, you can come whenever. I mean, all over the year you can come. It depends. I mean, the site is quite safe, and the weather is quite good, but it is not yet open for the public.
Okay, I understand. Because I heard that it's open, but maybe only for the scientists.
No, it is not yet open for the public.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Not at all. You're welcome. But we have a new museum in Alexandria. I mean, not a new, but the Greco-Roman Museum, as you know, it was finally reopened a few months ago. So you can pay a visit to Egypt, to Alexandria.
Of course. Yeah, because I'm thinking to write my my post-graduation studies. Because I don't know how to say the paper. You know the last, yeah, and I'm thinking to write about Alexandria. So
you have to visit Alexandria.
Yeah, I will come there with pleasure, of course.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So again, thank you very much for today, and we invite you for our next seminar. Before we have planned many guests. So from the beginning of this year, 2024, we will have the seminar not once a month, but twice a month. And because in February there is a winter spring, so our next seminar is going to be next Monday. And this time we'll talk about the eye tracking and how to look at the medieval art through the eye tracking lenses. So hope to see you all next Monday. Thank you very much.
Inshallah,
Enjoy.
it's pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
See
for
you
everybody.
next Monday. Goodbye.
Thank
Bye.
you very much. Again, it was a great pleasure.
Yeah, shukran.
Thanks. Afwan. Thanks a lot. Bye.